The African Union has been heavily criticized on its stand with regard to the deadly war that has taken place for almost 2 years in Tigray. Right on the onset of the war, the African Union chairperson Musa Faki Mohammed described the war in Tigray as a law enforcement operation and failed to condemn the genocidal campaign on the people of Tigray. And neither did he nearly suggest that the Eritrean forces to vacate the Tigray territory.
In Ethiopia, the federal government took bold steps to preserve the unity, stability, and respect for the constitutional order of the country, which is legitimate for all states.
Mouz Gidey, Associate Principal Researcher at Tigray Policy Studies, says the AU has clearly demonstrated its negligence on the genocidal war in Tigray, calling it a law enforcement operation through its chairperson Musa Faki Mohammed right at the very beginning of the conflict.
AU's readiness to lead this negotiation has been tarnished, not now, but earlier during the first stages of the ceasefire, because the president of the secretariat of AU has been supporting the war efforts in Tigray as a law enforcement program, and then later on he has been backing up Abiy's government and trying also to cover up the various crimes committed by Isaias Afwerki and Abiy Ahmed.
AU's High Representative to the Horn of Africa, Olusegun Obasanjo, avoided urging Eritrea to withdraw its forces from Tigray. Instead, he invited it to the negotiation table. Obasanjo was criticized for being partial in favor of the federal government, leading to the complaint by the Tigrayan government of Obasanjo's inadequacy in leading the negotiation. Alex Doal, executive director of the World Peace Foundation, also says that Obasanjo achieved nothing in 13 months except for facilitating Abiy Ahmed and Isaias Afwerki's plans to contain Tigray under military confinement.
We've seen General Olusegun Obasanjo in post as the High Representative of the African Union Commissioner for 13 months, during which time he has not managed to achieve a single face-to-face meeting between the parties. He has been extremely lackadaisical, clearly partisan, and the suspicion lingers that his agenda is really to smooth the way for the Ethiopian government, hand in hand with the state of Eritrea, to impose a settlement on Tigray at the point of a gun.
Recently, the AU invited the federal government of Ethiopia and the government of Tigray to South Africa for AU-led peace talks to be chaired by Olusegun Obasanjo, as supported by former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta and former South African Deputy President Phumzile Mlambo Ngcuka, to which the Ethiopian government replied swiftly, saying that the invitation was in line with the country's principled position. The government of Tigray also expressed its willingness, meanwhile asking the issues of security, logistics, and others. Uhuru Kenyatta also said he wouldn't be available on the specified date, for he had another schedule, and expressed his demand to be informed on the details of the peace talks. The African Union later announced that the peace talks had been delayed for logistics reasons. Dr. Mouz Gidey says the announcement for the delayed peace talks shows that the AU is not ready to lead the peace talks with the utmost responsibility.
A continental organization trusted for negotiating parties undergoing a genocidal war should have thought deeper than this. Issue of logistics, host state accommodation, relationship, transport, security shouldn't have been a matter, because what's at stake is the life of millions of people and the integrity of the whole, a big state like Ethiopia, and the peace and stability of a great region. So that a continental organization is saying that it lacks logistical arrangements or other preparations is farcical. It's a cruel joke. Otherwise, AU could have done better. That also shows you, according to some analysis, they say that the AU's invitation for the negotiation is a delay tactic employed by Abiy Ahmed and Isaias Afwerki. That could also work.
Alex Doal also says he doesn't expect the AU-led negotiation in South Africa to be fruitful, as there are no evidence of serious preparedness by the AU for the peace talks.
At the moment, the diplomatic channels are pretty much at a dead end. The African Union is talking about inviting the parties to peace talks in South Africa in about a week's time. But there's no evident serious preparation for those peace talks, and it will be very surprising to me if they're handled in an impartial, credible, robust, and serious manner.
The political analysts also say that the AU-led negotiation is unlikely to end almost 2 years long conflict in Tigray, as the mediator hasn't got trust from both sides from the very beginning, a condition that violates the basic principles of negotiations in general.
The judge or the negotiator need to be trusted by all parties. They have to invest their confidence in him or in her so that the peace process can go on, and so that a negotiated settlement of problems, a negotiated identification of problems and resolution of major challenges. And at the end of the day, to arrive at a win-win solution, you need to invest your trust on the negotiator. But from day one, AU as an institution, and the Secretariat as the head of the institution, and then the chief negotiator of the African Union, they have lost their trust by especially Tigrayan government and the Tigrayan people. And even in the eye of the international community, their neutrality has been tarnished.
If you were to take an ABC of mediation, the A is that the mediator needs to be accepted by both parties. And General Obasanjo has not been accepted by the government of Tigray. And in any normal scenario of conflict resolution, he would be removed. And if one party objects, it doesn't have to explain. If any mediation, any commercial mediation, any family mediation, any mediation between political parties or states, the basic principle is that the mediator has to be accepted by both. And if that's not the case, it's very unlikely that the mediation is going to proceed.
Regional and international political analysts express their pessimism towards the AU-led mediation to end the more than 2-year-long conflict in Tigray. The issues of readiness, commitment, and impartiality have shadowed the AU-led mediation, and many believe that it's unlikely to be fruitful.